Good morning. It's Tuesday, April 28th, just after 10 o'clock. We are at an open door, courtesy of the Reverend Cindy Krupp. And this is our regular Tuesday morning meeting. Welcome, everybody. Take your favorite seat and maybe have whatever you'd like to drink handy. And we'll have a little conversation, and then we'll do a meditation. And then we'll do a little bit more conversation, as is our usual practice. So today on Training Wheels, we are on lesson 98. And I'm going to read through this lesson as written in Training Wheels. So Jerry, I'm reading it through from my book, Training Wheels, but if you want to look at it from the blue book, by all means, go ahead and do that. I'm going to read what I wrote, and then last night I had some thoughts, some early morning, late night thoughts about this lesson and how it really was coming up for me. Cindy is teaching all of us, I think, that it is really through our own experience that these lessons come alive, or these words come alive. And so I'm going to just use my own experience, and hopefully it will resonate. We'll see what happens here. So I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. That sounds, when I first read it, it sounds like, okay, I just will acquiesce. I will allow whatever happens to happen. I'll just do an indigo on every moment, right? Just letting things come up and allowing them to be as they are. And that's, for me last night, that became a fairly superficial way of looking at this lesson. And I'll explain why that was true for me. But first I'll read through, and then I'd ask you to just stay in touch with what feels alive for you in this lesson. So how does it feel for you? And we'll talk about that after the meditation. So what it seemed to me was what we all know. I have only two choices in every single moment that seems to arise. And the first one is, do I allow things to unfold, or do I fight or resist what's unfolding? So do I condemn this moment and what is contained within it, or do I forgive it? And forgiving is the same as allowing. Do I allow it? Do I rest somehow in it? Even if it's a really upsetting moment, can I find a place to rest in it? And no one can make this choice for me. However, my choice will either be a blessing or a curse for me and all who share it with me. Today, you're asked to make the choice to dedicate yourself to salvation and away from guilt, as Source has planned your path for you. There's no other plan. That's a pretty heavy-hitting thing. There isn't any other plan, as much as the mind would like there to be. The law of oneness shares forgiveness with everyone and everything, everywhere, and all the time. Forgiveness, or allowing, is a cosmic alchemy. It's a cosmic alchemy of Source, or the Holy Spirit. And its effects aren't limited by time or space. We all know all of this. So today we're asked to practice this every 5 minutes. And you can do that if you want. but we're going to sit in silence in a little bit and just see how this rises for you. But I want to just say something before that. So we're coming here in what we call satsang, which is just coming together to hear the truth and speak our truth with each other. And it's becoming more and more apparent to me that that's really, really vital. It's a life source because the world just pulls us so effectively into the dream, as Richard tells us so often. It's a dream. It's a projection. It's Maya. It's whatever you want to call it. But it's not the ultimate reality. It's an experience. And part of the experience is God's plan, which seems paradoxical. So I wanted to just ask if when we sit in this meditation, or even right now, I want to invite you to just consider whether there is something in your mind that is telling you that you should know what that plan is. Even if it's very, very subtle. Like, you should know. And Sandra's laughing because she says, ah, she found it. It's so subtle, this thing, like, I should know. And the mind will do such a good job of just really reaming you, because it will tell you if you're not at peace in this moment, that you haven't accepted God's plan. And you should know that. So the mind wants to usurp what is happening, even in the most subtle, subtle way. It wants to usurp it and judge it and take control of it, even if taking control of it looks like, oh, I'm letting go. So that judging and taking control includes even the judging of it. And the mind will exhaust itself in trying to know. And I had a great example of this last night with my two little granddaughters, who, especially the 4-year-old, just could not stop screaming at dinner. She was exhausted. They just took a flight from the Cook Islands, Rarotonga, all the way home here, and she still hasn't recovered the sleep from it. It was like a 36-hour trip. And our minds are like that. We just run and run and run and run until we get completely exhausted, and then we are forced to stop. Because we have our meltdown. And I had a meltdown last night. It was a quiet meltdown, but it was a meltdown. And the meltdown came about during the day. And I thought during the day that I knew God's plan for salvation, and I was going to allow and allow and allow. And so yesterday I had a text from my brother, who is very much into conspiracy theories. And I have this rabbit hole that I go down because I love my brother. I love him so much. And I am so willing to give myself to try to meet him on common ground. And so we had a small exchange of emails about some things, and it doesn't even matter what. But he sends me this. I sent him a video to watch because I thought that we might be able to find common ground in it. And he's so adamant about his Christian nationalist position, which is kind of what it is. And that's a label I'm putting on it, and that's not fair of me to do that. So I'm watching that. But he said, this was his response about the people that were in the video that I sent. And I'm reading this because it just hit my heart. This was like the first part where I was like, what is this plan for salvation? What is this? And so he says to me, these are people who are supported by rampant corruption, by rampant corruption, which to me is almost like it's almost like A Course in Miracles using the word crucify. We crucify ourselves. And that's what it felt like to me when I heard that. Rampant corruption, stealing billions of taxpayers' money, USAID, Medicare fraud, election fraud, censorship, forced vaccines, open borders, on and on. The attacks by both sides on humanity is staggering. Released Epstein files show incredible evil done by elite for generations. Both sides are leading us into the beast system. I saw no clarity from anything you sent me. And so I took that in and I thought, how is that God's plan for salvation? I just don't see it there. But okay, I find peace because I recognize God's plan is for him. You know, each of us seems to have a unique plan of our own, but I trust that the end goal of every single one of our unique plans is the same, and it's to know our unity. Right? So each one is the same. So then it's my husband's birthday, or it was his birthday. And I went through the day. There were a lot of things going on, and I felt like I sort of had this little, thank you, John. I sort of had this little feeling that I really should be doing more for his birthday. And I recognized it. I saw it. It was fine. It came up. I forgave myself for it, right? But there's this little voice in the back of my head that was, you're not doing enough. You're not doing enough. You're not making this good enough for him. So then in the evening, our daughter, through marriage, comes over with her two grandchildren, and the two grandchildren are fighting and screaming all through dinner. And they did this last night too when they came over, fighting and screaming all through dinner. And I find that really difficult. And I managed it. It was okay, but I feel like I'm a bad grandmother. I'm a bad wife. I'm a bad mother-in-law. And I'm a bad sister because I just am having all these negative feelings, all this disquiet that's coming up in me. And so then it comes time to go to bed. And so I think, okay, this is my favorite time of day, oftentimes, because I'm just going to be quiet and I'm going to get in touch with God. I'm going to do my meditation. I'm going to breathe and I'm going to open and allow into whatever God's plan for me is in this moment, whatever it is. And I could not shut my mind off. And one of the things that happens as we start to awaken, and I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but it seems as though it's never ending sometimes, is that as we sit in the quiet and we open to listening and being listening, a lot of things come up. And some of them are ours, and some of them are just the world's. But they come up in the space of our awareness. And it's a huge, unlimited space of awareness. And even though I am very adept at recognizing and understanding that I am that awareness, I know that in my full being. What came up for me last night was this self-loathing. And I watched the thoughts come up that were crucifying thoughts. And I thought to myself, how the frig am I going to talk about this lesson tomorrow with my beloved people and offer them anything tomorrow morning? How am I going to do that? And what I realized, I love you, John. What I realized was God's plan for me is God's love for me. God's plan for me is God's love for me. And God's love for me is the same as God's plan for me. And so it isn't in that moment, can I accept God's plan? It's can I accept God's love for me? And I ask myself that. Can I accept God's love for me? And in the non-dual tradition, we really focus on being the awareness, not being the body, not being the emotions, all of those things. And we're going to talk a lot about that on Thursday. But I needed a friend in that moment because I wasn't being a friend to myself. And I realized I don't know jack about who I am or what I am, but I trust that my creator does, because I didn't create myself. I know that. So can I accept God's love for me? And that just washed me over. And that's what I rested in. And so it came to me that God's plan is God's love. God's love is the plan, and it is expressed uniquely for every single one of us. But it has the same goal and it is all the same love, and it's got the same quote unquote program, which is the recognition of our oneness. And the recognition of our oneness is the love we are. Because you cannot bake a cake without a binding ingredient. And we are all our own unique cakes, but the binding ingredient is the love. That's what holds everything together. It's the love. So that was what I came up with this morning. It wasn't so much for me, what is God's plan? Can I accept God's plan? I don't know what God's plan is. I will never know. I might know when I leave the body and the veil is removed. But I can't see that far and that big. But I can accept the love. the love in which that plan unfolds. So that's what I have this morning, and I'd like to just lead us in a little bit of a meditation here, because what I'd like to ask each of you is, what is alive for you in this lesson? What is alive for you in this lesson? Now, I'll just read a little bit more here. So just take your seat, and you can close your eyes or you can open your eyes as you see fit. And just relax and watch the breath. Don't try to control it. Just be gentle with yourself and gentle with it. And say in your mind softly, I will accept God's plan for my salvation. And see how that feels. Does that elicit a vibration or a tone? Don't do anything with it, just notice it. How is it that we can sense this vibration or tone just from these words, just from feeling the truth of these words? And that vibration or tone is so real in the body. And now try, I will accept the love of God for me. I will accept the love of God for me. And notice how that feels. Now let's just sit for 5 or 10 minutes. And if your mind wanders, come back to one of those sentences, whichever has the best vibration or tone for you. I will accept my part in God's plan for salvation. And what is salvation but the recognition of oneness? I will accept God's love for me. And what is love but oneness? The eternal embrace of the one unending, indescribable love. And don't worry if the mind wanders. Just come back and gently repeat that sentence, whichever one you choose, or you can alternate and play with it. But just repeat it. when you're ready. If it feels right for you. Just repeat the lesson one more time. And feel the words. And breathe naturally. Gently come back into your seat. Into these time and space coordinates. Just gently. And when you're ready, we can begin our discussion. What feels alive for you in this lesson? For me, linking God's love for me with God's plan was paramount. In that moment, I had to know I was loved. I had to know that love in order to love myself, to allow, to make that choice, to allow. Because loving and allowing are linked. Love is the foundation of allowing. William says, I will accept my part in God's loving creation of life. Thank you, William. Do you want to say anything more about that, or is that enough for you?
That is enough for me. And I'm so grateful that I'm aware of this. And that's all I need to say right now.
Yeah. Cindy and then John. Good morning, Cindy.
Good morning, Amy. Um, Here's what I'm inspired to say. Um, Thank you. Not just to you, Amy, but to all of us. Um, I am very struck with the recognition that human consciousness did not create whatever it is um, an open door is and is becoming. And there were a lot of things that the thinking mind wanted to say or share an answer to your question and in sitting. But ultimately, it's just this, there's a tone, the tone does the work. um, there's this container that we are allowing to be created through us that has allowed the intimacy and the vulnerability and the honesty in what you just presented. And that's God's plan. Let no secrets be hid. right? That's what's coming up for me. Um, let no secrets be hid. And here is what I saw. I saw self-loathing and self-hatred, and I saw a world going insane, and I saw every attempt I've made as a human being like fall flat. Screaming kids and a conspiracy-filled brother and a husband who is not super happy, or at least it feels like after all these decades, something is like I'm not enough. Like this feeling of not enough and this feeling of hatred and being able to communicate all of that, both to God last night in the way you shared it, and and then communicating it here in a way that's cracked a heart open. Um, it's extraordinary. Let no secrets be hid. And what I bring, the darkness I bring to the light becomes light. And that is God's plan. The world I see holds nothing that I want. And so look at all these places that I expected the world to tell me I'm okay. And man, the more I look for the world to do that, the more I fall flat. And yet, in the moment I realize God's love is all I need, and God's love washes over me and fills me and is filling this place. And I don't know what's going on here, but I am so divinely grateful to be here. Thank you for being my friend, Amy. In my world, you are always more than enough.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you. Right back at you. John and then Lonnie.
Amy. So happy to hear your check-in there. Really, really happy, and I appreciate it a lot. And thank you for your comments, Cindy. I appreciate that too. But let me say right off the bat, well, I just want a very happy birthday for your husband there, and
Thank you.
I hope you join in the festivities of the day because that is a big deal. Whatever's going on for you, when you've had a birthday, you've got a lot of neurology about happy, and you clap your hands and balloons and cake and all that kind of. And I encourage you to exploit that to the max because that is God's plan for you to have some joy and fun. And so I'm totally with you, and I so love that you shared that. That it's your husband's birthday. So happy birthday to him. What's his first name?
Well, his first name is Thomas, but we call him Spike.
Spike. Happy birthday, Spike. Yeah, we could play with that word, that's for sure.
We do play with that word.
Anyway, in juxtaposition, then the next thought comes to me, Amy, is those beautiful grandchildren bawling their eyes out, because that's such a polarity for you to look at. And like it's the joy on one side, and you hear the pain and crying and stuff. Your share was a bingo for me all over the place, and I'm sure it was for most other people. Just the realization, hey, all I'm doing is responding to stimuli, and that's what's giving me my experiences. So where is my crying for and bawling my head out, and nonstop way, So there's so many questions and answers going on for me, but I did want to think. Um, what came to me during the meditation was because you mentioned about my part and stuff. And I just want to say, and my God's plan for me is God's plan for me came first because God's plan for me is perfect spiritual expression. I've no doubt about that. No doubt about that. And I'm on a journey about that. But my part, what can I do? I can play my part. And I got this from Dr. Fleet, and I use it all the time, whenever I remember, is to play my part with stern resolve and earnest aspiration. Just play my part, when I can do that. And it kind of leads me into the what my I mentioned, that I'm responsible for my thinking the other day, and I just have to wonder what my next thoughts are. And that gives me a chance because you mentioned about this choice earlier on. I've always got a choice. I kind of wake up to the fact that I do have a choice and I'm not running on autopilot. So my next thought is available to me, and it brings me to instant relaxation in every moment. So I just love to remind myself and anybody else who wants to take advantages. I wonder what my next thought would be. And my next thought is, which is also my last one, because I'm sure so many people can share off your share, Amy, is to read my Path Seeker's Creed, which the one I use when I remember. May the Holy One, whose pupil I aspire to become, so strengthen me that I may give others without reserve, seeking nothing, asking nothing, hoping nothing for the separated personal self. May I be content to be in the light or in the dark, to be active or passive, to work or to wait, to speak or to be silent, to take praise or blame, to feel sorrow or joy. And that's really where you got me on yours, check-in, Amy. Feel sorrow or joy. My only wish is to be what is needed as an instrument for the mighty power of the X. That's God's plan. And to fulfill whatever post is vacant in that household. So with deep gratitude for your check-in, and what a joy to hear the truth. It resonates so loud and rings across every mountain, every molehill. I love you, Amy, and I love all the people who show up on Tuesday morning.
Thank you, John. That was beautiful. I love that. I love what you just read. Maybe you could send that to Cindy and she could put that up somewhere because, yeah, that was really beautiful. All right, Lonnie, you are up.
Amy,
And
what
then
were the
Richard,
two,
because we saw Richard's hand go up. So Lonnie and then Richard.
Amy, what were the two sentences? Because I can't grasp them right now, but I need to repeat them for a minute.
Well, the first one was the lesson, I accept God's plan for salvation for me. And the other one was, I accept God's love for me.
So when I'm going to probably work backwards in what's being said, but because what's so strong right now is what's being repeated. And so when I repeated or set, touched, I don't know the word, I'm getting a lot of different stuff, those two sentences and let them repeat in the meditation. What I realized I was hearing is in the repeating, I am God's plan. I am God's love. And so that became the echo that just kept coming through that entire sit. Interestingly enough, with something in the greater life of what's going on with Bonnie, this morning, that was literally what I had to say to move on, to move into the day. The acceptance of God's plan and that God's in charge of all of this. And then when I listened to you share, all we were able to see was God there in your experience, in God's experience as you, of those moments, of those witnessings, even of the labeling or seeming labeling of this isn't the way it's supposed to be or this is. God was there. Even when you were so busy trashing yourself, God was still holding you and reminding you, I'm still right here. And that was God's plan. You are God's, I am God's plan. I can't speak for you, but I know I am God's plan in every iteration that I existed. And I am God's love. I am God getting to experience what this, however it shows up and is, gets to experience. And then the great gift of being with all of you and seeing all the other ways that it itself is expressing and getting to ride this wave. I just needed to say that all out loud because it's so loud right here. I am God's plan. And in that way, there's nothing wrong with anything of this being. I am God's love. And I get to explore all the vast ways in which that gets to express. Wow, damn.
I know, it's really powerful, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
it's really powerful. And sometimes we get so involved in the game, in the sandbox of being human and having our relationships with people and each other and all that's going on. And we just go and go and go and go and go, just like that little 4-year-old until finally we just have to stop. But we've never really been in the sandbox. We've never left God's being. We just think we have. We've just been playing, you know.
Well,
And
it was almost as though when you were describing it, it was almost as though you were in that moment of forgetting and talking about being in that moment of forgetting as the person you are. But God never forgot. God hung out there and walked that through and let those children scream and express the way they needed to scream and express. Let them sing their experience.
that's
It
right.
was just so wonderful and so wonderful to hear you share on that level, because
Mhm.
it's in the witnessing of your walk that we all are returned to the witnessing of our own. That's what Cindy brings to us, and that's what you bring to us with that share. So thank you. Great gratitude for you.
Thank you, Lonnie. Okay, Richard, you're up. Even if you just are going to tell us you love us, you're up.
Morning, everyone. Richard, Ray Story. I, 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 about the lesson. I came to a realization early on my experience, not everyone's experience. There cannot be a plan. A plan is a thing. There are no things in reality. So there cannot be a plan. Number one. Number two, God is not an entity. Because if God were an entity, it would be separate from something. God is not a thing. So I had to deal with that and go, what is the course? For example, words are symbols of symbols twice removed from reality. So, what is God? Well, for me, it was energy. Energy had to be not physical energy because physical is form. And we know that there is no form in reality. So, so God is energy. We call it love. Most of us call it love. This energy is love. And we are this energy. And that's what the divine is, this energy. And the energy pervades everything that is, whether it's illusory or not. And it pervades the dream. And in the dream, this energy is manifested by each of us, which are dream figures in the dream. And we all want to be this energy. We want to be pure energy in a body. And we're trying as best we can to be this love, this energy, moment to moment. But we keep running into the world because we chose to come here and we call it a classroom. Not a place where we're supposed to have fun or go to the beach every day and everything's going to be the way we want it. It's just, what is love? And we keep running into obstacles in our mind that say, well, I'm not this, I'm not that. I should be better at this. I should be a better student. I should be a better parent. I should be a better lover, whatever. And we continue to judge ourselves. And we all judge the world we are experiencing. And that's why I love the Course. The Course is, for me, the definition of forgiveness is accepting everything as it is without judgment. In other words, it just is. It's just energy manifesting as physical form in time space. And we have to deal with it. So I can choose to be miserable, focusing on why I'm short of all everything I could be, or I can just be happy and go, I screw up every day a number of times. My mind goes crazy. That's okay. That's part of my experience. I really am the energy that is love. And I'm forever. I'm everything and everyone. So I don't know. That works for me. That's what I got out of the lesson. So love you all. Love us all. Thanks for letting me share.
Oh, thank you for that share. Um, that you brought us around, Richard, to um, a really good understanding of that lesson. And the thing about a course is it does, we say this every Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock. It really does direct its message to the mind that believes that it's a person and a body and duality. And so this word plan, you're spot on, because a plan involves time, right? It involves a beginning and an end and a strategy. And so it's it can ring hollow in some ways, because you're right, there is no plan. There's just being. What I found, and I think this is my lesson, is that when I am in resistance to my moment, over and over and over during the day, I'm in resistance to my moment. It can be a very subtle resistance, but it will build up. And as I continue to resist, then guilt comes in, and A Course describes this so beautifully. I'm resisting my moment, so I have a fear of abandonment. I'm resisting what is arising, and when I continue to resist, I'm resisting that plan, whatever it is. I'm resisting God's being. And then that subtle guilt comes up, and I become afraid of being abandoned because I'm not accepting what is arising as it's arising. And that's the beauty of A Course in Miracles and its psychology, is that it brings that to the light for me. And so in that moment of feeling like, oh, I'm afraid of abandonment, I'm not lovable. And sometimes the thing that just cuts that right, it's the atonement. It's the single-edged sword. It's the love of God. It's just the love of God. That is a what is, and I don't have to understand it or know what it is or be able to define it. I just have to accept it. And sometimes I can't just choose to be happy. It's like my mind is saying, okay, choose to be happy. And I'm like, well, fuck that choice. I can't make that choice right now, right? I can't just choose it, but I can accept the love. And each one of us is unique. Each moment is unique. Your toolbox is full of tools. And for me last night, that was the tool, accepting God's love. And I'm going to turn it over to Sandra.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for this time. and the beauty of the time and the moments. It's only a couple of minutes. Let me see if I can express this. The way I took the word plan was the plan that's no plan. I mean, every moment is filled with the beauty of it, the mystery of it, the spectacular awesomeness of it is that every moment has infinite possibilities. Every moment is an invitation to see it, feel it, rise above it, stick with it, and to know in all of that how amazingly beautiful the experience is. That's the plan, and that is exactly what you started with, which is love. And love, like we each carry this little tiny spark of it, and it wants to be fed. It wants more fuel. It wants more energy. And the more we carry it and protect it and spread it, the brighter it gets. And we actually feel illuminated by it. And we get to radiate that outward into all these infinite possibilities and these infinite expressions of it. And know that love is everlasting. You are loved with an everlasting love. That comes straight from the scriptures. And then love is patient, love is kind, love does not take into account a wrong suffered. Love is all things, has all things. I didn't say that exactly right, but that's what I remember. And oh, wow. It's just, I love that you didn't want to be happy in that moment. Of course you didn't. There's some moments that don't want to be happy. They want to be what they are. That's why I'm here, to feel that. But the difference now is that I'm not imprisoned in it anymore. That I
Hallelujah.
get to see it, feel it fully, and know that I'm here for that. I no longer have to resist it. I get to be in love with that as well. And there's this liberation and acknowledgement and just, oh my gosh, yes, this piece of being. So I'm so grateful to be here with you. I have missed you,
We've missed you.
but I carried you with me. And one last thing, I know I'm over time. One last thing, the power, there is a power in this energy that Richard described. There is power. And recognizing that power has been really important to me in this expression with others and with myself. And if we only knew how loved you are, if only I or you could express it to its fullest. In the meantime, I'm going to carry that flame as much as I can and build that as big as I can. So,
Thank you. That's a great way to end. We will rejoin in just about an hour for 12 stepping. Who's leading today, Cindy?
The last Tuesday of the month, is it not? Which means it would be Mr. Chuck Hunter today.
All right. All right.
Stop the recording.